Batteries fully charged. Launch ready for AEW Spark in 3, 2, 1. All Elite Wrestling discussion is live. Cue host Owen Finch.
Welcome everybody to AEW Spark, June 19th or June 20th, 2022, depending on how long it takes to edit and upload this video. And yeah, AEW Spark is back for another week. I haven't been canceled or forced to shut down the show, which is pretty damn exciting. And let's just get to talking about AEW. A lot went down inside and outside the ring. Some good, some bad, and some in the middle stuff. And I just want to sit down and talk about it. So we're going to start going all the way across the pond to New Japan Pro Wrestling, because with Forbidden Door coming up, New Japan Pro Wrestling actually had some stakes regarding AEW this week, and I want to talk about it. So we're going to go to New Japan Pro Wrestling's Dominion 2022, and I'm not going to talk about the entire show because not everything had to do with AEW, and I feel like it would kind of do a disservice to the show to talk about the entire thing, but I'll talk about everything that had to do with AEW on this show to kind of give you guys a general thoughts of what I thought of the show. I thought it was a great show. I don't think it was better than Wrestle Kingdom 12. I don't think anything's ever going to come close to touching that show, but it was still pretty damn great. It was like the first AEW show, not AEW, the first New Japan show that had been aired, really, I think, since the world's kind of opened up a little bit more. We had some people from America actually able to go over to New Japan, which was cool, so I'm happy about that. And yeah, let's just get to talking about the show. I'm going to start off by talking about the IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team Championship match between Chase Owens and Bad Luck Fale, who were representing Bullet Club, versus the Great O'Khan and Jeff Cobb, who were representing the United Empire. And I was very interested in this match, because this had some ramifications to AEW, because as everybody knows, the United Empire have been making their presence felt on AEW. And I was wondering if they were going to put the belts on them, and that ended up being the case. The United Empire's Jeff Cobb and the Great O'Khan ended up winning the IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team titles. The match itself was all right. I really didn't think it was anything to write home about, but it was a, decent little tag team title match. I wasn't the biggest fan of it. I think it's mainly because I'm not a big fan of Bad Luck Fale, and I'm not the biggest Chase Owens guy, but I do enjoy Jeff Cobb, and I think from time to time, given the right talent, the Great O'Khan could put on a good match with people, with anyone. But I was happy that the United Empire ended up walking out with the IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team titles. There was really no reason to not do this, because the United Empire have been making their presence felt on AEW. You really had to capitalize on that, and with what they end up doing on Dynamite later, it makes sense. So I was completely fine with this. Afterwards, Rocky Romero, who flew all the way to Japan, tried to attack the Great O'Khan and Jeff Cobb, but he ended up just getting laid out with a total eliminator. And afterwards, Rocky Romero said that he did this because it was to try to get some revenge for the United Empire sticking their nose in Roppongi Vice's business when they were going after the ROH World Tag Team titles. So that was pretty much it for that. Really, nothing else to write home without. Jeff Cobb and the Great O'Khan also talked about how they want to get their hands on Roppongi Vice, and they also want to go after FTR and win the possibly the ROH or AEW World Tag Team titles. So that's going to be interesting to see what happens there. But I'm enjoying what's going on between the United Empire, FTR, and Roppongi Vice. And it also makes sense to do this because United Empire has been feuded with Chaos in New Japan off and on. And since technically Rocky Romero and Best Friends are part of Chaos, they kind of factor into that feud as well. So I enjoyed this. Also on this show, we had the match to determine who was going to face Jon Moxley for the interim AEW World Championship at Forbidden Door. We had Hiroki Goto versus Hiroshi Tanahashi. This was an excellent match. Great match by these two. They both really performed in this match, and I really enjoyed it. They definitely made it feel like that there were stakes in this match. You had Hiroshi Tanahashi at one point Irish whip Hiroki Goto into the barricade, and he still came back and rebounded with a clothesline, which was impressive. You had the Sling Blade. You had a Bloody Sunday in this match, and I just really enjoyed it. Eventually, Hiroshi Tanahashi ended up getting the win, which I'll admit was kind of predictable, but I didn't necessarily hate it because it makes sense to do Jon Moxley versus Hiroshi Tanahashi. But I wish they could have tried to make this match a little unpredictable, but I still enjoyed it for what it was. I thought these two really went out there and had a great match with each other. Later in the night, Hiroki Goto, doing backstage comments, talked about how he doesn't really know where he's going to go from here, and he says that it's not a bad thing, it's a good thing. He feels like he's at the highs of highs, but he just doesn't know where to go next. I hope they can find a way to get Hiroki Goto on the Forbidden Door somehow, because I think he, with this performance here, he definitely deserved it. And then Hiroshi Tanahashi talked about how he wants to finally stake his claim in the wrestling industry outside of Japan. He wants to do it in North America, and he feels the match with Jon Moxley at Forbidden Door is a good opportunity for him to do that. So I really enjoyed that as well. So yeah, really good stuff here. Also, on this show, I want to make sure I didn't forget anything. We had the IWGP United States Heavyweight Championship match, and this is going to be complicated, so just kind of stick with me here. Originally, Juice Robinson was supposed to defend the championship against Sonata and Will Ospreay in a triple threat match, but as they called it, the curse of the IWGP United States Heavyweight Championship still stands, and Juice Robinson ended up having appendicitis, and he has to go have surgery on it. He went back to America to have it, so he was unable to compete in this match. He did a big promo talking about it, and he's upset that he had to get vacated of the belt because of this. So it ended up just being a one-on-one match between Will Ospreay and Sonata, and they really delivered the goods. It was really short, but it was still a very good match. And they had a ton of near falls in this match, but eventually Will Ospreay ended up getting the win with the forearm to the back of the head, the hidden slice, I believe it's called. And Will Ospreay became the new IWGP United States Heavyweight Championship, except he doesn't have a championship to show off because it's stuck in America. So this obviously has to do with AEW because United Empire have been showing up on AEW, and they ended up doing something with this later on AEW Dynamite. So yeah, I'm excited about this. I'm happy to see Will Ospreay as IWGP United States Heavyweight Champion. I think, if the curse doesn't happen with the belt, I think Will Ospreay could be a great United States Heavyweight Champion. Then we had the main event, which is what really changed things for Forbidden Door. And that's Kazuchika Okada defending the IWGP Heavyweight Championship against Jay White. And I think we were all thinking it was going to be a foregone conclusion that Kazuchika Okada was going to defend was going to retain his title against Jay White, and he was going to go into Forbidden Door and defend the championship against Hangman Adam Page, but that was not to be. And I gotta say, this is probably the greatest match I've seen Jay White have. I haven't seen a lot of Jay White matches, to be fair, but from the ones I have seen, this was fantastic. I thought it was awesome. These two went out there for 35 minutes and just tore the house down. I don't know if this is the best match they've ever had because this is the only one of these two matches I've seen have against each other, but it was fantastic. And yeah, like I said, I think we were all thinking that Kazuchika Okada was going to walk out with the IWGP Heavyweight Championship, but that was not to be. After 35 minutes, after some dives, tombstones, rainmakers, Yoanagis, suplexes onto the apron, double underhook suplexes into the guardrails. We finally got our answer of who was going to be going into Forbidden Door with that IWGP Heavyweight Championship. And it's not Kazuchika Okada. It's actually going to be Jay White. He hit the Blade Runner, and he got the victory out of nowhere on the Kazuchika Okada. I don't think anybody expected this to happen. Now, when you hear what happened, Kazuchika Okada is not going to be at Forbidden Door now because it's his wife's birthday and he doesn't want to miss that, which I'm fine with. I would love to see Kazuchika Okada be on this show, but if he wants to celebrate his wife's birthday and wants to have his priorities in order, I'm not going to stop him, but it just took me by complete surprise. I couldn't believe that Jay White is going to be walking in with the title. But it does work because Adam Page and Jay White do have a history because, of all the stuff that's gone down between Bullet Club and Adam Page, since Adam Page was in Bullet Club at one point, and Jay White and Adam Page have a history with each other. Yeah, I know that afterwards, Jay White said that he wasn't going to defend the title against Adam Page. He said, you could face Okada, but you're not going to fight me for this title. I'm going to defend it against the elite athletes. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. He even called him out on backstage comments and said that he's not going to defend it. You're going to have to face somebody else. So, yeah, this was just an interesting turn of events. I'm fine with Jay White being the IWGP Heavyweight Champion, and I'm wondering what's going to happen from this. And as I talk about this show more, and, talk about the matches that could happen in Forbidden Door when I get to the AEW Dynamite, I'll talk more about this. But, yeah, definitely some newsworthy stuff came out of New Japan's Dominion. And there's one final thing that came up that I want to make sure I don't forget. Now, I don't know if this is going to happen or not, but during backstage comments, Zack Sabre Jr. called out Bryan Danielson, and he saying that he wants to see who the best technical wrestler in the world is. And I'm all fine with seeing that match if it can happen. I don't know if it can or not, considering the fact that Bryan Danielson is injured right now, but I'm hoping Bryan Danielson can get back in time to see that match, but we'll have to wait and see. I imagine if they can't do that match, they might just do the match on New Japan, on NJPW Strong, or maybe they'll do it on Dynamite or Rampage, because it's going to be disappointing if they can't do that match. But I wanted to see this. I actually wanted to see Tom Lawler defend the Strong Neville Openweight title against Bryan Danielson, but I actually prefer this. I want to see Zack Sabre Jr. versus Bryan Danielson. Because if you remember when Zack Sabre Jr. wrestled in WWE in the Cruiserweight Classics, Bryan Danielson was on commentary studying and dictating every move that Zack Sabre Jr. could make. But that was 6 years ago, I think. So a lot has changed since Zack Sabre Jr. and Bryan Danielson were last seen together. So I'm really excited to see what happens here. Also, that came out of New Japan, that's going to be in a month or so, is they announced the G1 Climax. I'm not going to go through every participant that's in it, but one participant that isn't in it that I'm interested in is from AEW. It's going to be Lance Archer, which I'm interested in seeing. I'm assuming they worked through this because Lance Archer's not going to have anything going on for a while in AEW. So I'm all fine with him being in this tournament. And there's a lot of matches I'd like to see out of Lance Archer. I'd like to see him versus Okada. I'd love to see him versus Shingo Takagi. I'd like to see him versus Tanahashi again in a rematch. Him versus Tom Lawler would be a lot of fun if they could do that match. I'd like to see him versus Will Ospreay. And yeah, there's a lot of matches I'd love to see Lance Archer have. I would even love to see him versus Tamatonga. That could be some fun. But yeah, some newsworthy things took place out of Dominion from AEW, and now let's get to the actual AEW shows themselves. We're gonna start with Elevation from this week. I'm gonna read my notes on my phone because the webcam I'm using, I don't know how long I can actually not the webcam, but the app I'm using to record this on. I don't know how long I can actually talk on for. And I don't want to take the chance of doing this long video and then finding out that none of it recorded. So I'm just gonna read the notes off my phone, so I might be looking down a lot throughout this video. So yeah, let's get right into it. Let me just find my notes. We're gonna start off with AEW Elevation. This was episode 67. We had Excalibur and Mark Henry on commentary this time for the show, which I thought was interesting. I don't know where Shivani or Paul White was, but they weren't there, so it's their business. Let's just let them go about their business. So we had the first match on the show. It was Nyla Rose versus Max the Impaler, and I was interested to see this. I figured it'd be a squash, but it was two big horsewomen going at it, and you really don't get to see that often in a woman because you don't really see a lot of women built like this going at it in the professional wrestling. It's very rare, at least for my case anyways. And I believe I've seen Max in the Impaler wrestle before. I'm sure I'll get corrected in the comments, but I'm pretty sure she was in a Battle Royal on ROH Free Enterprise in 2020, like right before the pandemic hit. And I'm pretty sure she had a face-off with Bully Ray, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if that was on that show or if she was at All In the over the budget Battle Royal, but yeah, it was really cool to see these two go at it. They didn't go at it for very long. It was about 3 to 4 minutes, but for those 3 to 4 minutes we got, I enjoyed this. And yeah, it was just two powerhouses going at it, and I enjoyed that Nyla Rose had to go outside of her comfort zone to take down Max the Impaler. She did a drop toe hold, which you don't really see Nyla Rose do in these matches, and eventually she ended up getting the win with the Beast Bomb out of the corner, which I kind of liked because Max the Impaler was already up in the corner, so she didn't, so it was kind of Max the Impaler's own momentum that took her into the powerbomb. So I enjoyed this. I hope they can actually sign Max the Impaler and we can actually see them have like a real proper 10 to 15 minute match because I really like to see that. Then we had Private Party versus Camaro Jackson and SK Bishop. This was just a squash. You got to see Private Party do different moves you never really seen them do before, like an Escalera, an assisted Escalera on the outside, which is a flip dive to the outside. But other than that, they actually had a new finisher this week. They didn't use the gin and juice to win. They used a neck breaker 450 combination, which I thought was cool. I hope that could be like the alternate finisher. Like a lot of these wrestlers have alternate finishers, and I liked that. It was good. Then we had Ortiz versus Amaya. I think that's how you pronounce that. Ortiz squashed him. This was to build him up to face Chris Jericho in the hair versus hair match, which I'll talk about a little later on. Then we had Serena Deeb and Mercedes Martinez versus Tootie Lynn and Miranda Gordy. And this match was really what you can do, I can do better type of match between, or as I should say, a game of one-upsmanship between Mercedes Martinez and Serena Deeb. They were really just trying to one-up each other. And they both ended up getting the win. Mercedes Martinez hit the surfboard Dragon Sleeper combination at the same time that Serena Deeb did the Serenity Lock, and both women ended up tapping out at the same time. And yeah, I enjoyed this. I think this is going to set up a future ROH Women's World Championship match between Serena Deeb and Mercedes Martinez, which I'd be interested in seeing that. I really would like to see that. And yeah, that could be a lot of fun. I hope they do that match on Dynamite or Rampage, though. I don't want to see that on Elevation or Dark. I think that match is easily a Dynamite Rampage caliber match. But yeah, I enjoyed this. Then we had 2.0 representing the Jericho Appreciation Society versus Warhorse and Danny Adams. This was a squash. Danny Adams had glasses on in this match, and they attacked him before this match, so they never got to take him off. And these dastardly heels. You can do a lot of things as a heel. You can, attack people's families. You can goat somebody into a title match by throwing them off the stage. You can injure them, but you do not destroy somebody's glasses. You just don't do that. That's Hosh. And as someone with glasses, I take offense to that. So please don't do that. That's mean. I hit your heels, but that's going too far, way too far. 2.0 ended up getting the win. I forget how, but they won. Ruby Soho ended up having a match with Heidi Howitzer. And obviously Ruby Soho won with the Blade Runner. There's a new name for it now. I believe it's called Undestined Roads, but it's the Blade Runner. So there you go. Then you had QT Marshall and Aaron Solo versus Evil Uno and 10. Enjoyable match here. I really didn't know who was going to win because none of these factions are doing too much right now. And I thought there was a decent chance that QT Marshall and Aaron Solo could actually get a win. I thought they were going to have the factory actually get a win 2 weeks in a row, but was not to be. And they really got me when Aaron Solo hit the Insiguri onto Evil Uno, followed by the Diamond Cutter by QT Marshall. But 10 broke it up just in time, and eventually 10 made Aaron Solo tap out to the full Nelson. And Evil Uno and 10 ended up getting the win, which I'm absolutely okay with. I enjoy them, the Dark Order, better than the Factory anyways, so really not going to complain about that. And yeah, I actually just thought they were going to have the Factory get a win 2 weeks in a row, but it was not to be. So that was that. But that was Elevation. Enjoyable show. A lot of matches were squashes, but I enjoyed the main event. I enjoyed Serena Deeb and Mercedes Martinez squash. I enjoyed Nyla Rose versus Max the Impaler, and I enjoyed Ortiz's squash. So that was Elevation. Moving on to AEW Doc, which was episode 148. You had Excalibur and Taz on commentary, but they did mix the commentary teams up on Dark this week. Started with QT Marshall versus Allen 5 Angels. And yeah, this was really good. You didn't know who was going to win this match because none of these guys are really being pushed right now, but it really could have gone either way because QT Marshall and the Factory always lose. But Allen 5 Angels isn't really being pushed right now, so he could have afforded to take a loss. And yeah, they were pointed this match where I thought Allen 5 Angels was going to put him away. He had an Insiguri followed by a Frog Splash onto QT Marshall, but he still kicked out. And eventually QT Marshall ended up hitting the Diamond Cutter for the win. And I was surprised. Like I said, the Factory never wins, so when they actually win, I'm always surprised. Unless it's Anthony Ogogo that's wrestling, then I'm not surprised. But yeah, I really don't think this hurts Allen 5 Angels at all. He had a really good showing in the match, and I enjoyed it. Then we had a match that I was really interested in because I didn't expect to see it. It was Bobby Fish versus Brock Anderson. And I thought Brock Anderson looked really good in this match. He really stood toe-to-toe with Bobby Fish. Bobby Fish didn't just carry him in this match. I thought Brock Anderson held his own. But eventually, Bobby Fish ended up getting the win, which makes sense because he's the veteran. There's really no reason for Brock Anderson to win right now. And he ended up making him tap out to the heel hook. However, he refused to break the hold, and eventually Darby Allin ran out to make the save and chased him away and helped Brock Anderson to the back, which set up future events for Rampage. which I'll talk about later. Then we had Jack Bannon, um, Sin Bodie, and Ray Rosas versus 2.0 and Daniel Garcia. This was an absolute squash. Really just to put over the Jericho Appreciation Society. And they all won when they made when 2.0 hit the finisher, followed by Daniel Garcia's Indian Deathlock, making one of the guys tap out. And afterwards, they basically said that they accept Eddie Kingston's challenge for Blood and Guts. Then we had a very good 6-woman tag match. It was Anna Jay, Ruby Soho, and Chris Statlander versus Nyla Rose, Diamante, and Emi Sakura. This was great. Very good. Really good action here. The heels got the heat on Anna Jay for a long ass time. Eventually, Ruby Soho got the hot tag and cleared house. And eventually it led to Chris Statlander getting the win on Diamante. Kind of makes sense for the faces to win because they're all being pushed right now. Nyla Rose, Emi Sakura, and Diamante aren't really doing anything. And Diamante is like the furthest one from the totem pole, so her taking a loss here doesn't hurt her at all. But all these women looked great in this match, and I enjoyed it. Then Anthony Ogogo absolutely squashed Nick Ruse. He ended up knocking him out with his pop-up punch. Then we had a sleeper match on the show. It was Konosuke Takeshita versus Nick Camarado. What a match this was. They really should be utilizing Nick Camarado a lot more than they are. He's great. And I really think that they're miscasting him a lot. He looks different. He's a big dude. And I think they should be utilizing him more. Konosuke Takeshita showed impressive strength in this match. He ended up hitting a bridge German suplex on Nick Camarado. And if you've seen what he's looked like, you know that's not easy to do. But eventually he ended up winning with a running high knee strike. And yeah, Konosuke Takeshita picked up the win. I would like to see Konosuke Takeshita challenge in the future for the TNT title. Either win it or just have a really good showing for the title, because I think he could do some great things with that title. But we'll see. Then Matt Sydal faced Taylor Rust. Yeah, I enjoyed this too. Matt Sydal, didn't completely squash him. Taylor Rust got some offense in, and when it looked like Taylor Rust was going to get the win, Matt Sydal put a stop to it right away, and he ended up hitting the twist and spiral for the win, and Matt Sydal went over. But yeah, Taylor Rust looked really good in this match. I don't think he got buried at all. Then we had the main event. It was Frankie Kazarian versus Ethan Page. Interesting that this was the main event, but considering the fact that it was in California, it made sense, and especially with what they did at the end of the show. These two went out there and put on a really good match with each other. They have really good chemistry. They should have a match on Dynamite or Rampage someday. Eventually, the referee distracted Frankie Kazarian, and but distracted the referee and Frankie Kazarian, which led to Ethan Page getting a roll-up win onto Frankie Kazarian, and afterwards, he got upset. He ended up putting Dan Lambert into the crossface chicken win, and then Ethan Page ran out, and Scorpio Sky went out, and it looked like the odds were going to be at a disadvantage for Frankie Kazarian, but eventually Christopher Daniels ran out, and SCU got back together, and Frankie Kazarian challenged him to get in the ring, but Men of the Year reminded everyone that that from now on, SCU can't team up in an AEW win. And Christopher Daniels said that, that doesn't mean I can't kick your ass right now. But Ethan Page took a walk, and Frankie Kazarian said that he still owes Scorpio Sky a receipt, but Scorpio Sky reminded us that it can't be for the TNT title. So I'm interested in this, and there's a lot that could come out of this. I think that we're going to get probably next week on Dark, we're going to get Christopher Daniels versus Ethan Page, and then maybe in the future, Frankie Kazarian versus Scorpio Sky again. But I noticed they said they can't team up in an AEW win, so I was thinking, What if they went to New Japan Strong and they did this match on New Japan Strong? Because that's not an AEW win, and that kind of is a loophole there. Or since Frankie Kazarian's been showing up on Impact, they could do this match on Impact. Because all these guys have history in Impact, some good, some bad. So that'd be interesting. But that was AEW Dark, really enjoyable show. And like I said, the commentary team mixed up. I forgot to mention during the women's match, Mark Henry ended up doing commentary for that. And I forget which match it was, but Ricky Starks did commentary. I believe it was during the 2.0 Daniel Garcia match in the main event. So that was interesting. I enjoyed hearing Ricky Starks out there again. So there you go. Let's get to AEW Dynamite from this week. This was the Road Rager show. You had the commentary team of Excalibur, Jim Ross, and Tony Schiavone. And you kicked off with... actually, before I talk about what kicked off the show, I think the biggest thing I should talk about, since it's the biggest news story that's taken place out of AEW, is the tag team ladder match. Because originally, we were supposed to get the triple threat tag team ladder match between the Hardys, the Young Bucks, and Jurassic Express, A Boy and His Dinosaur, which is Jungle Boy, and Luchasaurus. However, we had a lot of things come out of the Hardys situation over this past week. Well, originally, the Hardys weren't even going to be in the match because the Hardys... Well, had this match been able to take place anyways, let me rephrase that. The Hardys were going to win the tag team titles here, which makes sense because I would love to see the Hardys have one final great tag team title run. They really haven't had that yet. The last great tag title run they've had, I think, was when they won the Raw tag team titles, when they returned to WWE at WrestleMania 33. Because, when they won the SmackDown tag titles, Jeff was injured, so they had to vacate them really quickly. But, and, it would have been cool because it'd be the last set of tag titles that the Hardy Boys would have to win. They pretty much won every tag title except the AEW, and you could make the argument the ECW tag team titles. But, because of Jeff's injuries at Double or Nothing, they were originally going to write an angle where the Young Bucks attacked the Hardys, and they were going to be written out of the match, and they just would have done the one-on-one ladder match. Well, the 2-on-2 ladder match anyways. But then that wasn't meant to be. Unfortunately, Jeff Hardy ended up getting arrested via a DUI on Monday, I believe. It could have been Sunday, but it was reported on Monday. And, yeah, Jeff Hardy got arrested via DUI, so he was pulled from the match. And originally the match was pulled all together. It wasn't even advertised at all, but then they changed it to just a traditional 2-on-2 ladder, tag title ladder match. And now Jeff Hardy has been suspended without pay, and now Tony, he's gonna end up probably going to rehab because Tony Khan said that Jeff Hardy's open to going to rehab. So I really don't know what to say about this Jeff Hardy situation anymore. It seems like it's happened a lot. I remember I talked about this back in 2019 when he was out due to an injury and he was found intoxicated. And then we had whatever that situation was almost a year ago, last year, when he showed up to a WWE Live event, supposedly on something. But then we found out that he wasn't on something. I don't even know what that was. But, yeah, this Jeff Hardy situation is just really messed up. This dude just really needs to get help. And he really needs to get clean. But I've been saying this for a while. And yeah, I just don't know what it's going to take for Jeff Hardy to get clean. The only thing I can really suggest is just, I think the wrestling business should just blacklist him. I understand that he needs work, but him getting signed is just enabling him at this point because, and just being signed anywhere because, you know, he travels and it's tough to avoid drinking, but I get, and stuff. And I think you basically enable him to do this because you're rewarding him for doing this. I don't even know what to say at this point. Um, I think he should just get blacklisted until he gets clean and stays clean. I don't want to see Jeff Hardy come back for a year at this point, or as long as it takes to get clean. Like, I think they're gonna have to really be strict with Jeff Hardy. WWE's been trying to help him for years, and I'm really just pissed about this because Jeff Hardy's a risk, and Matt Hardy really probably went to bat for his brother to get him signed at AEW, and this is what happened. It's really a shame, and yeah, Jeff Hardy just really needs help. But only Jeff Hardy can decide that. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. But let's get to a lighter note. This tag title ladder match was fantastic. It was a fantastic ladder match. I really liked how they worked this, where the Young Bucks continuously tried to keep Luchasaurus, the bigger guy, out of the ring. So that way they could just focus on Jungle Boy, who was kind of who they consider the weak link. And this ladder match was really just a spot fest, which I absolutely have no problem with because it really stood out from this show because you didn't really see a lot of matches that were like this on Dynamite this week. It was really just this match. And I really thought it was, when I watch a ladder match with the Young Bucks and stuff, I expect to see a spot fest. So I'm fine with it. And you had a ton of crazy stuff go down in this match. You had Hurricanrana off a ladder. You had Luchasaurus chokeslam one of the Bucks. I believe it was Nick onto a ladder that was leaned up against the ropes. You had Jungle Boy hit a 450 through a table onto Matt. The Young Bucks had a double powerbomb onto Luchasaurus through a table. Luchasaurus had a choke slam onto Matt through a table. And you had a Bulldog dropkick combination. You had double super kicks. You had a spot where Matt Jackson got Luchasaurus into a sleeper hold, and Luchasaurus kept trying to still climb the ladder, but Jungle Boy ended up hitting him in the back with a steel chair. You had a Canadian Destroyer onto the apron, and the Bucks went for the BTE trigger, but while Jungle Boy was on a ladder, but Jungle Boy moved out of the way, and they ended up colliding their legs together, and they fell, and they ended up tipping the ladder over anyways while Jungle Boy was on it, and he ended up getting hung up onto the ropes. Luchasaurus hit a double choke slam. They hit the Thoracic Express. Everybody just ended up fighting on the ladder at one point, and eventually the Young Bucks tipped over the ladder, sending Luchasaurus crashing through. It was supposed to be 4 tables, but he only went through 3 of them. And Jungle Boy got the BTE trigger, and eventually the Young Bucks climbed the ladder, retrieved the titles, and they ended up winning the AEW World Tag Team Championships. And trivia note, the Young Bucks now are the first tag team to be 2-time AEW World Tag Team Champions, which I think is a hell of an accomplishment, considering the fact that this company's been around for 3 years, and we're just now getting our first 2-time tag team champions. I think that's pretty cool. I think it was bound to happen at some point, and made sense for it to be the Bucks. And yeah, I'm wondering what's next for the Bucks as tag team champions. I would like to see them face Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland. I'd like to see them face Ricky Starks and Powerhouse Hobbs at some point. I don't know who they could face from New Japan, because I imagine they want to do a tag title match at Forbidden Door. I like to see them face the team that won the World Tag League in 2018 21 and won the heavyweight tag titles. I believe it was Hiroki Goto and that other guy. I forget his name, but I like to see them go against the Bucks for the for the AEW World Tag Team Championships. I think that would be a hell of a match. Because I don't know who else could really face the Bucks in New Japan. The Good Brothers could, but I feel like the Good Brothers are still signed with Impact, and because Impact and New Japan aren't really working together, well, Impact and AEW aren't really working together right now. I don't think that match can happen. But we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, hell of a match. And that's not even the most noteworthy thing out of the match. So afterwards, Christian Cage came out. He checked on Luchasaurus. He checked on Jungle Boy. And you think, they're just going to walk off to the back. But Christian Cage turned heel. He ended up hitting the kill switch onto Jungle Boy. And then afterwards, he hit the concerto onto him. And he did it right in front of Jungle Boy's family. And Christian Cage is now a heel. I'm cool with this. I like to see Christian Cage as a heel in AEW. I think he's kind of done everything as a babyface, and I think a program between Christian Cage and Jungle Boy could be a lot of fun. I just kind of find it funny that within this last couple of weeks, Edge turned babyface at the same time Christian Cage turned heel pretty much. I think that's kind of funny how that happened. So I think that's kind of cool. I'm interested to see what Christian Cage is going to be like as a heel in AEW. And I'm interested in the matchups you can get with him as a heel. I love to see him versus Darby Allin. I love to see him versus Matt Hardy now that Matt Hardy's back to being a babyface. I love to see him versus Heyman Adam Page. I love to see him versus Keith Lee. I love to see him versus Swerve Strickland. There's a lot of matches you could do with Christian Cage as a heel. I would love to see him face Frankie Kazarian again now that he's back to being a heel. So I'm all for this. I'm interested in this. So, yeah. Give me Christian Cage as a heel. I'm really interested in it. This gets 2 thumbs up. The ladder match was excellent, and the turn with Christian Cage was awesome. Now let's kind of go back to the beginning of the show, and let's talk about the hair versus hair match between Chris Jericho and Ortiz. This was a hell of a match. I really enjoyed it. Chris Jericho gave Ortiz everything. He basically sold like hell for Ortiz, which I really enjoyed. And Ortiz kicked the crap out of Jericho throughout much of the match, and he ended up beating him up on the barber's chair. I like that they had an actual barber out there that was going to shave the loser's head. And eventually, the Jericho Appreciation Society started to interfere in the match, and Eddie Kingston, who was already out there, Ortiz and Willa Yuta all went out and tried to even the odds, but Fuego del Sol ended up hitting Ortiz with Floyd, the baseball bat, and it allowed Jericho to pick up the win. And afterwards, we found out that who was Fuego del Sol? It wasn't actually him, but it was Sammy Guevara. And Sammy Guevara ended up turning heel and aligning himself back with Chris Jericho. And we're going to find out what happened with that later in the show. And I'll talk about my full thoughts on that. Then afterwards, Eddie Kingston tells Chris Jericho that they were men of their word. And Ortiz ended up shaving his own hair, which I kind of like. It's a pride thing. If he's going to have his head shaved, he'd rather shave his own hair. He didn't shave his whole head in the ring, though. He ended up just doing some of it because he comes out later and he's completely bald, so apparently he did it backstage. And afterwards, Ortiz repeatedly says blood and guts, so it looks like he's joined Eddie Kingston's team for blood and guts. So far, it's looking like for blood and guts, it's going to be the Jericho Appreciation Society versus Eddie Kingston, Jon Moxley, and Proud and Powerful, probably. I don't know who else is going to get added to that. I don't know when Bryan Danielson will be back. I imagine Willa Yuta will be in it. And I imagine they'll probably get like maybe a former WWE guy or something in it. Somebody's coming in to sign with AEW. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, I really enjoyed this. I figured Jericho wasn't going to lose his hair because I think when Jericho finally loses this feud overall, it's gonna be a blood and guts, and I think that makes sense. And I think it makes sense for Ortiz to lose his hair. So I thought this was awesome. Then we had Wardlow versus the Plaintiffs, those 20 security guards in the elimination match. They played this big video as if this was like a court case where of everything Wardlow did to the security guards. And yeah, Wardlow just destroyed these guys. It was entertaining. I think it went on a little too long, but I enjoyed it for what it was. And Wardlow just destroyed these guys. And eventually he went to destroy Mark Sterling. But Dan Lambert says to think about this because you have more enemies than you think. And I have more friends that are watching in American Top Team. And he had these two guys from American Top Team that were from St. Louis go in there and about to take out Wardlow. But Wardlow told him to think about it and asked if he's really going to take advice from a rich douchebag, or if you're going to take fate into your own hands. He didn't exactly say it that way, but that's basically what he said. And yeah, Wardlow, I like that Wardlow said this because Wardlow was doing this when he was working for MJF all that time. So eventually the two guys from American Top Team fed Smart Mark Sterling to Wardlow, and he ended up laying him out with the power bomb. So yeah, it looks like we're well on the way to getting Scorpio Sky versus Wardlow for the TNT title. I imagine that match is going to take place probably the Dynamite after Forbidden Door, and I think Wardlow's going to get the TNT title. I think he should win it and just go on a long, dominant reign with that championship. Then we had a fantastic match. We had Will Ospreay versus Dax Harwood. What a fantastic match that was. Just go watch it. I don't even need to talk about the spots. Go sit down and watch that match. It was awesome. The only thing I question maybe is I think you having Dax Harwood maybe wrestle too many singles matches. I think to balance this out, you should have Cash Wheeler wrestle more singles matches. That way to because the whole thing of FTR was there was really no one that really overshadowed the other. They were equals. And I think now that you're having Dax Harwood wrestle all these singles matches, he's clearly going to be the breakout if the team breaks up, which I don't think they're ever all going to break up. But, you know, I feel like you need to kind of spotlight Cash Wheeler a little bit more. And, yeah, Will Ospreay won, which makes sense because he just won the IWGP Heavyweight title. I feel like it makes sense to capitalize off of that. And it also makes sense to, and I don't think it hurts Dax Harwood to lose since he's mainly a tag team wrestler. So I was completely okay with this. And then afterwards, the rest of the United Empire went out and we're going to beat down Dax Harwood. But then Cash Wheeler and Roppongi Vice came out to try to even out the odds. And it led to a big brawl. And eventually Orange Cassidy went out and had a face-off with Will Ospreay. And Will Ospreay backed down as all of Chaos and FTR stood tall. And because of this now, we got two matches set for Forbidden Door. One's going to be a winner-take-all tag team title match. It's going to be FTR defending the ROH World Tag Team titles versus the Great O'Khan and Jeff Cobb, who are going to be defending the IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team titles, versus Roppongi Vice. I'm really interested in seeing that. I think they should add a fourth team. I think they should add somebody from Bullet Club to the match, not Bad Luck Fale and Chase Owens. Keep them far away from that show. I would prefer maybe El Phantasmo and Ace Austin, or the Good Brothers, if they can get the Good Brothers to show up. Because I think that would be awesome. Because I think we should have some Bullet Club inclusion in that match, since they were just recently the IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team titles. It's not Bad Luck Fale and Chase Owens. I'd rather see the triple threat than those two nothing talents in there. So mainly Bad Luck Fale. I don't want him anywhere near Forbidden Door. But yeah, and also we're gonna get Will Ospreay defending the IWGP United States Heavyweight Championship against Orange Cassidy. He still didn't come out with the IWGP United States Heavyweight Championship on this show. I think he should. I get they want to do a storyline right now with Juice Robinson not wanting to give up the title, but I think it's stupid to not have the IWGP United States Heavyweight Championship show up on Dynamite. Like, a lot of people watch Dynamite. It'd be kind of dumb to not have that title there on a big stage like that. So I really hope they just say, hey, fight for that title. Also on this show, we finally got the face-off between Jon Moxley and Hiroshi Tanahashi. It's about what you would expect. Jon Moxley talked about how ever since he started this quest to become the best wrestler in the world, when he was going to New Japan and AEW, the one wrestler he wanted to wrestle was Hiroshi Tanahashi because he was the ace of New Japan Pro Wrestling. And he says that he's fighting for more than just the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. He's fighting to be known as the ace. And before Hiroshi Tanahashi could really say anything, the Jericho Appreciation Society, mainly just Chris Jericho, Jake Hager, Sammy Guevara, and Ty Conti came out. And Chris Jericho announced that Ty Conti and Sammy Guevara are now Jericho first announced that since he wasn't here last week, he should be the one fighting for the interim AEW World Heavyweight Championship, considering the fact that he's owned Jon Moxley in the past, and he owned Hiroshi Tanahashi in the Tokyo Dome. And he says that one way or another he's going to make it, whether Moxley has no eye or whether he's just broken into pieces. So they go to the ring to attack him. First Hiroshi Tanahashi tells him to shut up, then they go to the ring to attack him. And not only did the Jericho Appreciation Society attack him, but also representing the Suzuki Goon was Lance Archer and El Desperado. And it led to this big beatdown, and during this, Jericho was cutting a promo talking about how now Sammy Guevara and Ty Conti have been inducted into the Jericho Appreciation Society, and it's revealed that Minoru Suzuki, for one night only, loaned them Suzuki Goon, and at Forbidden Door, we're going to have a 6-man tag team match. It's going to be Les Sex Gods and Minoru Suzuki versus Willa Yuta, Eddie Kingston, and Yuma Amoa, I believe is his name, which is Red Shoes' son. And that's a callback because when Chris Jericho fought Kenny Omega at Wrestle Kingdom 12, it was Red Shoes' son that he ended up attacking during that match. So I kind of like that they're calling that back. So I'm interested to see in that match. And then after this, Eddie Kingston, Proud and Powerful, and Willa Yuta all went out and even the odds. And Jon Moxley and Hiroshi Tanahashi ended up having a final face-off. So I enjoyed this. It set up a lot of things to come. Then we had the Ethan Page Miro match to determine who was going to join the Fatal 4-Way match to crown the very first ever Mid-Atlantic, All-Atlantic champion. Good match here. I enjoyed how different it was. I like that they were both heels, and it was just a different type of match. You don't really see all that much. It was just two guys trying to win, and eventually Miro won, which I wasn't surprised by. He ended up locking in the end, game over, and Ethan Page tapped out right away. And Miro now joins Pac in that Fatal 4-Way match. On the next episode of Dynamite, we're going to have Malachi Black versus Penta Oscuro, so Penta El Zero Miedo or Pentagon Jr., whatever you want to call him, at the qualifier. And I'll kind of unpack the New Japan side of things. The one thing I didn't like about it was they kind of made the New Japan side of things really confusing. I don't really think AEW knew how to explain it because it was tough, but I think I finally got what's going on here now. I'm interested in the Mid-Atlantic Championship. I like that they have the title. A lot of people don't really like it because it's them adding too many championships, but I don't have a problem with it. I think as long as you book your championships well, you can have as many titles as you want. I think there is a limit But if you look at New Japan, they have, I think, probably the same amount of championships as AEW. And when I saw people making these lists of how many belts AEW had, it was kind of ridiculous because a lot of people included the Owen Hart's men and women's titles. They made that pretty clear. Those aren't championships; those are just trophies. And I don't really count the ROH tag titles and stuff because that's not even though Tony Khan owns it, it's kind of a part of a different brand. So I really don't consider it part of AEW's stuff. So yeah, that's my thoughts there. Then we had Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, versus Tony Storm. Tony Storm did an interview earlier in the show talking about how she's the person to be the next AEW Women's World Champion, not Britt Baker. And these two went out there and absolutely killed it. This might be better than the match that they had in the Owen Hart Women's Tournament, but it's pretty damn close. Rebel and Jamie Hayter kept trying to interfere, and eventually Thunder Rosa went out and chased off Jamie Hayter, and eventually it led to a one-on-one match, and Tony Storm won with the Storm Zero. And later on in the show, after her and Thunder Rosa had a face-off, it was announced that we're going to have, for the AEW Women's World Championship, it's going to be Tony Storm challenging Thunder Rosa for the title, which I'm interested in seeing that. I want to see that match. That match could go either way. I'd like to see either person win. I would have preferred Thunder Rosa face somebody from New Japan. I get that New Japan doesn't really have like a women's division, but I think you could have easily gotten like someone from Shine or Shimmer, whatever that company name is. And I think the person you could have easily gotten was Kairi Hojo or Kairi Sane, known by as in WWE, and I would have loved to see her and Thunder Rosa go at it for the AEW Women's title and save Tony Storm versus Thunder Rosa for a match for a future episode of AEW Dynamite. But that's just what I would have liked to see. And then Heyman Adam Page cut a promo. He came out and talked about how he how he admits that he jumped the gun and thought that Okada was going to get to Forbidden Door with the IWGP Heavyweight Championship, but even though he didn't, he still wants that championship. He still wants to go after Jay White, but Adam Cole comes out and says that that's not going to happen, and that it's going to be him versus Jay White for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. And Jay White, it's revealed that Jay White was actually there, and he comes up from behind and hits and lays out Adam Page with Blade Runner, and reveals that he's not going to wrestle Heyman Adam Page for the title, but also he doesn't want to wrestle Adam Cole for the championship. And, Adam Cole was kind of shocked by this because he was thinking they were going to do, like, Super Elite versus Bullet Club type deal, but that's not to be. So, that's interesting. I still think we're probably going to get Adam Page versus Jay White for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. I don't even know how we're going to get that match. I was thinking they'd do a number one contenders match between Adam Cole and Adam Page, but considering the fact that Adam Cole is injured right now, they can't do that match. Maybe they could do something where Adam Page faces Kyle O'Reilly, and they do the thing where if Kyle O'Reilly wins, Adam Cole gets the title match, but Adam Page still wins it, so that way you could kind of do it that way. That's what I like to see anyways. So yeah, I like that. And that was all of AEW Dynamite for the most part. Fantastic show. Really nothing bad on the show. I can't think of anything bad. The only thing I really didn't like on the show was nothing. Really, I thought like a fantastic show. Like I thought it really delivered. Now let's get to Rampage. The show was commentated by Excalibur Taz and Chris Jericho. We had the first match. It was Jon Moxley versus Dante Mountain. William Regal was on commentary for this match, as well as the hair versus hair match from Dynamite. This was set up because Dante Mountain did a promo where the match was already booked, saying that he could potentially beat Moxley, but he talked about how each time he's come this close to beating him, and this time he's actually going to do it. And this time, he did not do that. He had a really good performance. He flew all around and hit a lot of really cool dives and everything like that, and nearly beat Moxley, but eventually Moxley caught him into a paradigm shift, followed by the elbows into the bulldog choke, and John Moxley made him tap out, which makes sense because he's going into that interim AEW World Title match. I do think they could do a storyline someday where Dante Mountain beats John Moxley. And I think that someday you could really easily tell that story because he's come close on so many occasions. Then they did an interview with Swerve Strickland and Keith Lee. Keith Lee was upset with Swerve Strickland about the fact that he eliminated him from the Casino Battle Royal, but Swerve Strickland revealed that he did that because it's singles gold. They said they go after singles gold, but now they could be a tag team together like they talked about. But Keith Lee was still pissed about it, and when he went to walk away, Ricky Starks and Powerhouse Hobbs came up and reminded them that they still haven't beaten them as a tag team, so they might do that match again in the future. We'll have to wait and see. I'd be interested in seeing that. And they played a hype video package to hype up the match coming up between Malachi Black and Penta Oscuros, which I think they're going to play on the road to, which I'm interested in seeing. We had the Gun Club and Matt Caster versus Bear Country and Leon Ruffin. Matt Caster did a rap. He referenced the June 6th attacks from last year, which was kind of a surprise because that's still kind of a big thing that they don't think you should be talking about. But Tony Khan's supposed to be watching that stuff. I guess we're on. It was a squash. Like the match went probably less than a minute, and Max Caster and the Gun Club won, but Max Caster hit the mic drop on Leon Ruffin for the win. But yeah, it went no more than a minute. Hook got interviewed, and we found out that he's going to be taking on somebody from the New Japan's LA Dojo on Rampage next week, which is this week, so today's Sunday. And when Danhausen came out and said, we're going to take care of him, Hook said he's got this, and that was it. I enjoyed this. I enjoyed the back and forth between Hook and Danhausen. I like to see that be a full-on tag team. I mean, I think it is, but I like to see it really be a full-on tag team. I like to see them get the titles. I wouldn't complain if they beat the Young Bucks for the tag team titles. Then we had we found out on Dynamite that Stokely Hathaway revealed that Jade Cargill was issuing an open challenge for the TBS Women's Championship. Willow Nightingale accepted, and it led to that match. It was okay. Like I said, if Jade Cargill really can't go more than 10 minutes, but less than that, she's okay. She won with Jaded. Stokely Hathaway was on commentary for it. I enjoyed the back and forth between him and Taz. And afterwards, as Kiera Hogan and Jade Cargill were beating down Willow Nightingale, Althena tried to come out and make the save, but she was she ended up hitting the Eclipse onto Kiera Hogan, but still got beat down by Jade Cargill until Chris Statlander went out to make the save. So we're going to get some matches, it looks like. We're either going to get Jade Cargill versus Chris Statlander for the belt, or Jade Cargill versus Althena for the title. I could see something happening where Althena faces Chris Statlander, and whoever wins gets the title match, and I could see Althena, winning. And I'd like to see Althena beat Jade Cargill. I'd like to see them make a reference to the fact that, Althena tried to beat a streak before, but failed. And somehow still got the title anyways. So I think that'd be cool. Then we had Darby Allin versus Bobby Fish. This was set up, obviously, because of everything that's happened with Sting, where Kyle O'Reilly took out Sting's knee. And yeah, Darby Allin had been saying that he was gonna break Bobby Fish's leg, and they worked a fantastic match. This might be one of my favorite matches I've seen all week. Um, Bobby Fish and Darby Allin really went at it. Bobby Fish was dominant throughout large portions of the match, and eventually, uh, when he went for the heel hook, Darby Allin counted into the Last Supper, and afterwards, Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly went to beat down Darby Allin, but the lights went out and Stin appeared. He hit, he low blowed Kyle O'Reilly with the baseball bat. He actually left it between his legs, which was kind of funny, and then punched him in the face. And then afterwards, Darby Allin attacked Kyle O'Reilly. He hit the coffin drop onto his leg with the chair wrapped around his leg, and Stin went after the leg some more. And yeah, Darby Allin and Stin fulfilled their promise and broke Bobby Fish's leg. I don't know how long it's going to leave Bobby Fish. I still think he'll make it like an appearance on AEW. He'll just be on crutches for a bit. And I think eventually we're going to get Red Dragon versus Darby Allin and Stin, which I'd really love to see. I think had things gone well, I think we would have probably seen the Hardys, Darby Allin and Stin versus the Super Elite at some point. Probably the Bucks and Red Dragon. But, because of everything that happened with Adam Cole getting hurt and the Hardys, I think we're just going to get a regular tag match. I'd like to see at some point the Bucks defend the tag titles against Darby Allin and Stin, and I'd like to see Darby Allin and Stin even get the tag team titles. That could be pretty cool stuff. But that was AEW. All the AEW coverage from this week. Hell of a week. If I had to grade this week, if I was including New Japan stuff, and I will since they had AEW implications to it, I'm going to give this an A+ week. Every show delivered this week, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I'm looking forward to Forbidden Door. I'm not looking forward to it as much maybe as I want to be, because there's some politics that are kind of getting in the way, like the fact that Kazuchika Okada can't be there because of his wife's birthday. The fact that Andrade Alidolo and the Lucha Brothers can't go there because of the AAA contracts. The injuries got in the way too, like CM Punk's injury. Brian Danielson and Adam Cole's injuries. Things like that. I also think, there's something else that kind of got in its way, but I forget what it was. The injury bugs and stuff like that's kind of getting in the way, but I'm still looking forward to the show. I still think we have a stat card for Forbidden Door, and I still think it's going to be a hell of a show. But yeah, that was AEW for this week. Let me preview next week now. I'll give you some predictions of what I think is going to happen. Starting with New Japan, it's going to have some more AEW implications this week. Tomorrow or today, whenever you see this, at New Japan Road to Tokyo Korakuen Hall, we're going to have 2 matches in the Mid-Atlantic Championship tournament. We're basically now going to have a tournament within a tournament. We're going to find out the New Japan representative that's going to be in the All-Atlantic Championship Fatal 4-Way match. We're going to have 2 matches, and whoever wins those 2 matches will face each other the next day, and whoever wins that match qualifies for the Fatal 4-Way. Like I said, AEW made it sound really confusing, so I'm going to make some predictions for that. On June 20th at the Korakuen Hall, we're going to have Tomaka Hama versus Clark Connors in a first round qualifier. It's really tough to call who's going to win that. I've seen both these guys before. I've been impressed with them for the most part. I think Clark Connors might win that. He's overall the better talent, I think. And I think, Hama's kind of a older talent, and I think he's going to put over Clark Connors. And really put him over and for the next match. Also on that show, we're going to have Tomo Ishii versus Yoshibo Kanemaru. Yeah, both these men. You have one that's part of Suzuki Goon, and because Suzuki Goon is gonna have a presence at at Forbidden Door, I could see Kanemaru going over, but I think Ishimori is gonna win this match. Because I really don't see Kanemaru losing to him or beating him. Um, Especially since Ishii's more of a well-known name. I could see Tomo Ishii winning, and then since I predicted that it would be Clark Connors versus Tomo Ishii, I want to see Ishii win. I would love to see Ishii mix it up with Miro, Ishii if mix it up with Pac. I would love to see Ishii mix it up with either Petra Oscuro or Malachi Black. I think Ishii being in the Fatal 4-Way makes the most sense. And I think Ishii's going to be the New Japan representative going into AEW. It's going to be a name. It's going to be someone that people will recognize more, considering the fact that he's been on AEW before. So that's who I think will advance overall. We found out some matches. I think we basically found out the full card for AEW Elevation episode 68. So I figured I'll do some predictions for that as well. We're going to have Nyla Rose and Marina Shafir versus Max the Impaler and Heidi Hohauser. I think that's an easy victory for Nyla Rose and Marina Shafir. Because that's just going to be a squash match for the most part. But I am interested to see how Nyla Rose and Marina Shafir will coexist as a tag team. I think that would be kind of cool. We're going to have Matt Sydal versus QT Marshall on that show. That's really a tough one to call because, like I said, the Factory, for the most part, always loses. But Matt Sydal really doesn't get much of a push either. He's kind of 50-50 a lot. Sometimes he wins, sometimes he loses. And I'm going to go out on a limb and just say QT Marshall will win. I think he'll win via cheating by the Factory. I think the Factory is going to interfere and help him win. And no one's position is really going to change from this. Then we're going to have Andrade El Idolo versus Frankie Kazarian. This could go either way also. You have Frankie Kazarian, who's kind of in a feud with, Men of the Year. I'd imagine on Dark this week, we're going to see Christopher Daniels take on Ethan Page. But as for this match, I'm going to say Andrade El Idolo is going to get the win. He really needs a big win. They really need to stop pushing him. He really hasn't been utilized all that well since he's joined AEW. I honestly think I don't know if he's in a worse position than when he was in WWE, but I think he's pretty much in the same position. He's in the upper mid-card. He hasn't been used all that much really either because he's just got married and had his honeymoon and stuff, but I'd imagine after Forbidden Door, I think they're going to start to use Andrade El Idolo again because they really need to. I don't know why they're not pushing him. But yeah, I think Andrade El Idolo needs to get a win. We're going to have Anna Jay versus Rebel. That's an easy victory for Anna Jay. I don't think it would be a complete squash, but I think Anna Jay is going to easily dispatch of Rebel. We're going to have Tony Nese versus Warhorse. Tony Nese is probably going to win in a squash. Then we're going to have Swerve in Our Glory, which is Swerve Strickland and Keith Lee versus Davey Vega and Matt Fidget, I think is how you say that. That's going to be a squash. Swerve in Our Glory is going to win that. We're going to have Serena Deeb and Mercedes Martinez versus Heather Reckless and Tootie Lynn. I think it's going to go the exact same way as the last match went, where Mercedes Martinez and Serena Deeb are going to play a game of one-upsmanship and, still beat their opponents. Then we're going to have Ruby Soho, Miss AEW Doc versus Miranda Gordy. That's an easy victory for Ruby Soho. Then on AEW Dynamite for this week, it's going to be a loaded show. It's the final episode before Forbidden Door, the go-home episode. We have a loaded code, actually. We have another first-round All-Atlantic qualifier. It's going to be Malachi Black versus Penta Oscuro. I think Malachi Black's going to win that. Because I think there's a lot of interest of him going into the Fatal 4-Way match, and since and having a member of House of Black and Death Triangle represented in there, and having Pac and Malachi Black have a face off. I think that'd be cool. I'd also like to see Malachi Black face off with Ishii and Malachi Black face off with Miro. That could be some fun. So I think Malachi Black's gonna win that. We have a 6-man tag team match. It's gonna be Will Ospreay and Aussie Open versus Orange Cassidy and Roppongi Vice. I think that's gonna be an easy victory for Orange Cassidy and Roppongi Vice. Mainly for the reason that I think Orange Cassidy's gonna build some momentum going into that IWGP US Heavyweight Championship match. And I think easily one of the guys in Aussie Open can take the loss. So I'm enjoying that. I think that could be some fun. I think this is gonna be a hell of a match. And then we have the main event, which will probably be the main event. It's gonna be the tag team match. It's gonna be Hiroshi Tanahashi and Jon Moxley versus Lance Archer and Chris Jericho. A lot of history in this match. You have Hiroshi Tanahashi and Chris Jericho, as I mentioned before. Hiroshi Tanahashi and Lance Archer, since Hiroshi Tanahashi beat Lance Archer for the IWGP United States Heavyweight Championship, who in turn, Lance Archer and Jon Moxley have a history fighting over that IWGP United States Heavyweight Championship. As for, I think, who's going to win this, I think it's going to be Moxley and Hiroshi Tanahashi to build momentum going into the interim AEW World Heavyweight Championship match. I think Lance Archer is going to take the loss. And I think that's easy for him to take a loss because they can have him just get hit with the paradigm shift and that Swanton bomb that Hiroshi Tanahashi likes to hit. And it's easy for him to take the loss. He could even take a Judas effect by accident, too. And I think he can take the loss, too, because he doesn't have a match at Forbidden Door at this time. So I think it's fine. So that's my predictions for Dynamite. Loaded show. What else I think will happen on the show is I think we're going to get some more build-up for that 6-man tag. I could see a brawl happening afterwards where Eddie Kingston and comes out. And I think Minoru Suzuki might make an appearance on this show. I think we're going to finally have the IWGP the IWGP Heavyweight Championship match added. And I think the Bucks are going to have a match added on the show. And like I said, I'd like to see them face Hiroki Goto and his partner. And that's basically about it. Then on Rampage, doing predictions, we're going to have Hook versus the top prospect for the New Japan Dojo. That's going to be an easy victory for Hook. There's really no reason for Hook to lose right now. I don't know who that top prospect could be. I would love, even though he just graduated from the dojo, they didn't necessarily say he was a current prospect. I would love to see that prospect be Alex Coughlin. I think that could be a hell of a match. But we'll have to wait and see on that one. But those are my predictions for AEW. And that's been AEW Spark. I hope you guys enjoyed this show. And yeah, I hope you guys are enjoying the show so far. And let me know what you want to see me cover on this. I'm trying to kind of, be respectful to Noah and stuff, since this is how he structured his show before. But if you want to see me do something different on this show, just let me know. And yeah, that's pretty much it for AEW Spark. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And I'll be back. I'm going to try to be back, and do an episode before Forbidden Door happens. It's probably going to be Saturday, since, I can't really do an episode before Rampage. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Leave your thoughts in the comments down in the description box below. Make sure you guys like, comment, and share this video. And subscribe to the channel and click on the bell. So that way, anytime I upload a video on this channel, you guys will be notified about it. And that's pretty much it, guys. Talk to you later.
Podcast has concluded. Be sure to check out more group discussion as far as AEW content is concerned, and check out more content from For the Win Productions.